I'm joined today by Phil Jones, a master of words, one of the most inspiring people I've had a chance to work with. He's the author of 5 bestsellers, most recently, Exactly What to Say and Exactly How to Sell. But what's been interesting compared to other speakers, experts, thought leaders, authors I've had a chance to meet with, Phil's one of the guys who I was so moved by when I read his books that I wanted to hire him to see how his magic words, another one of his books, could be applied to my own business, to our business, Trend Hunter. So we've been working with him. He's been running a couple workshops, and he's really changed the way that we think. So with that intro, Phil, I'll be like super high end. You're the exactly what to say guy. Super open-ended question. What are you all about?
Wow, so you just throw me that ball, right?
Yeah,
what am I all about?
What am I
all about? I guess what I'm about professionally is helping empower people that would like to assist people in the decision-making process but have no idea how. One of the biggest reasons that the majority of people fail to get what they want in life is that they just don't have the balls to ask, or they find themselves living fearful, full of rejection. So much of my work is to empower people to have some more skills, some more confidence to get more of the things that they want in life. And I try to do all the things that I can to give people those skills in simple, easy, bite-sized pieces.
And you've worked with a couple thousand clients, literally a legend in the field. And when I think of someone with 5 different books, they often take a different path, but what's the through line that connects your message and your sort of life mission?
I teach people to sell stuff, yet everybody hates the idea of being a salesperson. When I say everybody, I mean somewhere like most people. See, if I ask people to reach for adjectives that describe a stereotypical salesperson, I get a list of words back that people would really like to be used to describe themselves. Mm-hmm. And my work is very much in the space of saying, how do I help all those people that hate the idea of being salespeople, yet still need to influence people, motivate people, inspire people to take a different action? How do I help those people to be able to do that? And I think every piece of my written work and every seminar that I deliver, every workshop that I work on in some way knocks down some of those barriers.
All right, so let's dive into it. If I'm trying to convince a human to do something, what's the root of decision making?
Okay. Well, firstly, let's back up on this word convince. You mentioned I want to be able to convince somebody. That would indicate that in some reason you're asking them to do it against their free will. I think the biggest reason that most people don't do something isn't because they haven't been convinced, is because it didn't feel right to them. See, if you're looking at convincing, we're steering on that area of manipulation. Now, manipulation in my mind is unethical, yet influence and persuasion is something that we actually enjoy. The biggest reason that the majority of people fail to do things isn't because they decided not to, it's just because they stuck themselves in the position of maybe. So what we're looking to be able to do to help other people do stuff is understand a word that's massively overused. And it's a word that's hugely overused in our world as speakers. It's that word motivation.
Sure.
Now, you're like a motivational speaker. And what does the word mean? Well, if we split it out, the first part of the word, the motive part, comes from the Latin word motivus. Modern day translation is the word motive. The Asian part derives from the word we know as action. Another word for motive is the word reason. And if somebody's to take action, they're going to do something or move. So all we're really looking to be able to do is to find other people's reason to move. That's how we have influence over others, is if we can find their reason to move, you can get just about anybody to do just about anything. But it has to be their reason, not mine.
All right, so I want to give an example. When I was reading this particular book, which was the first one that caused me to learn about you, and the opening story I thought was really interesting, or one of your opening examples, and I think it's kind of a neat anecdote, but it's just the idea of sort of pre-qualifying yourself out, sort of saying this might not be for you. Yep. So maybe it'd be neat to get your overview of how that works.
Well, let's loop back to that fear of rejection thing. The biggest reason that people don't ask for the things they want in life is they're fearful somebody may say no. So I figured what I could do is if I could help people with a rejection-free opening formula, a chance for them to be able to ask for the insights of other people without any option of rejection being one of the choices, that would be a good thing. And a rejection-free formula is the words, I'm not sure if it's for you. Now, if I'm to present an idea to you, prefaced with the words, I'm not sure if it's for you, what I'm doing is I'm putting it to the left or to the right of you. It means that you have to move. It means you have to do things. Listen to what subconscious thinks when I say I'm not sure if it's for you. Subconscious thinks 2 things. First thing it thinks is, well, I'll be the judge of that.
Sure.
Right? I've got a decision to make one way or the other. And the second thing is curiosity is piqued.
Yeah.
What is it? I need to have some more of this.
And I'm not sure if this was your example or if it's the one we kind of applied when we workshopped at Trend Hunter, but it's the idea of, on a simple nature. I'm not sure if it's for you, but there's a party this Friday that's going to have a cool band. And then it makes the person say, oh, wait, it might be for me.
Yeah, and it allows the other person to be involved in the game. And too many people think that like closing sales or manipulation is about this yes or this no answer. And it's this hard lines between something being right or wrong. It's black or it's white. Much of my work is saying, well, actually, let's bring this into conversation. Let's play in that area of gray. Let's color them between the lines that we created and have more effective conversations. And the art of conversation is something that's getting massively lost. What I've learned is that it's questions that lead to conversations, conversations that lead relationships, relationships create opportunities, and those opportunities become sales. Yet the world is forgetting to ask questions, or at least care about the answers.
Now, is there a problem that happens because sales teams are often like this separate group of hunters who go out and sell, and it's so different than the people maybe delivering the service or providing the product? Like, how does that wall impact?
It's a great point, and I think again we've got to be careful of how we categorize sales teams, because within that description itself there are some that are only about the dollar, what can I close today, what can I go and make happen, and then some who are ethically aware, care with huge consideration towards the outcome that are received by their customers. The point I'd look to make though is to succeed in a modern world, the biggest thing we need to do is to move the finish line. The finish line isn't the day that you close the sale, or the day that you send the invoice, or the day you bank the check. The finish line is the day the client gets the value that was promised in the point of the transaction. So the best example I look towards is if you were selling wedding dresses, when's the most important day?
6 months before the wedding, maybe? Or the day is the actual day.
Right.
It's the only day.
It's the day, right? It doesn't matter how good every part of the experience was up until that point. If the product and the service doesn't deliver on that day, you failed. And I think having clarity over what the other person wants is important. So my definition of selling is earning the right to make a recommendation. It's not embellishing a product or service with features and benefits hoping the other person gets it. It's genuinely earning the right to. So what that means is that we should never, ever, 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 ever invite somebody to buy something or to act or do something unless we can say these words first. And the words we should look to be able to say first are the words because of the fact that you said. So because of the fact that you said A, B, and C, it's for those reasons that we recommend X, Y, and Z. So let's just come back to the wedding dress scenario. Because of the fact that you said that you're going to be getting married outside and you're unsure about the weather, what you might want to do is to go for this fabric.
And now you're an advisor to me. You're not a seller at me.
And proving that you've listened. What the most dangerous thing is as you automate a process, is that you forget the importance of listening.
And we've used the word sales a lot, but I can't help but notice that while some of your books talk about selling, other work you've done is more on communication.
Yeah.
So in your own sort of approach, how do you think the precision of words evolves past the sales teams? Are you starting to look beyond sales?
I think we're all selling something, whether it's a product, a service, an idea, or an outcome. That's what communication is very much about. It's looking to be able to influence the behavior of others, which is what selling really is. So they're all so neatly intertwined. It just depends on what we choose to label it. Tomato, tomato, like any way around, it's the same thing. So I don't think there is a big difference. Yet what I do believe is that the words are far more important than people give it credit for. Firstly, when's the worst time to think about the thing you're going to say?
Right when you're saying it.
Right, it's in that very moment. Yet still the majority of scenarios that people find themselves in business and in their social lives are, even though they knew what they were going to be asked, they still find themselves in that precise moment, like lost for words.
And what are you working on next?
Well, I have another book that comes out back into this year, which is exactly where to start. So there's this exactly theme that is coming on through that I'm kind of excited about. And that is a book that helps people turn a big idea into reality. I feel that there is huge glamorization of the world of entrepreneurship.
Absolutely.
And very little focus towards what it takes to say, well, I've got an idea, how do I make it real? And this isn't about how do I become the next bazillionaire. It's more about saying, how do I turn something that is a concept in my mind and it now exists in reality? And it stops people from having that I almost did conversation 30 years later in their life. So that's the goal behind that one, and I care massively about entrepreneurism. And I think the other big thing that I'm working on is how do I have more fun in my life and find more balance?
Okay, so I'm going to ask you some more questions on that, and I'll say with exactly when to start. This is a topic of interest to me because I find that we, especially in America, over-glamorize entrepreneurship, and the books that we read come from Richard Branson's success or what Elon Musk has done, which isn't replicable. And your risk of failure is so huge, and I'm sure for every story you hear of Elon Musk, there's a solid 10,000 that were different. So what are some of the principles that you've been uncovering in this concept of timing?
Entrepreneurship is frightening, but it's been glamorized to a point where it's so sexy that the other thing that starts to happen is people forget the reason why they're doing it. So a point I made earlier was where I'm trying to move and shift some things in my life is people think that success can only be measured with what your exit strategy was, or what's your IPO valuation, or how many employees you've got, or what your turnover might be. And one of the most liberating things about starting a business or leading a business is there must become a point where this allows you to be able to do some of the other things that you want to do with your life. And if you lose transparency towards what that part of it is, then maybe you haven't succeeded in the way that you hoped for in the first instance. So it'd be nice to bring some light towards that success is measured in something that doesn't necessarily have a dollar sign in front of it.